Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie that's getting a little bit of Oscar buzz. I was really excited to see it get a wider release so I could check it out. Darkest Hour. So Darkest Hour is kind of a biopic about Winston Churchill. Gary Oldman plays Winston Churchill. It has a lot of really big name British actors in it. And I was really excited because it was getting these really good reviews, and I find that part of history especially interesting with World War II and all the stuff that went on behind the scenes. So this movie was directed by Joe Wright, who has a pretty good experience when it comes to doing these period pieces. I mean, he did Pride and Prejudice, he did Atonement, so he's definitely not a newcomer to this type of genre. And I thought he brought a lot of those really good elements from those movies into this movie. It really felt like it was taking place during that time. You felt the atmosphere of London during, the beginnings of World War II and kind of the anxiety around the situation. As for the performances, I thought Gary Oldman was fantastic. I mean, I thought he had one of those roles where I completely forgot it was Gary Oldman, and most of that has to do with the prosthetic makeup, which I thought looked really good. It kind of reminded me of Steve Carell when he had his role in Foxcatcher. Gary Oldman did a good job of embodying that person. I think it's one of the really hard things when you do movies that are biopics, is kind of taking that almost legendary persona of a person and kind of doing their nuanced things and having them be more relatable, having them be kind of bring them to earth as an actual human instead of being these historical figures that people hold in such high regard. And I think he did a good job of showing Winston Churchill as a person, not just as an idea. And I don't know how historically accurate the film was, but I thought they did a really good job of kind of showing the progressions of him becoming prime minister and, the anxieties of, Parliament and all that stuff. I thought that was handled in a way that wasn't super boring. I was kind of worried going into this movie that it was going to be really boring. It's not a super long movie. It is still over 2 hours though. And I was especially worried that it was going to be boring. But it kept me entertained the whole film, and kind of the stakes and anxiety of the situation, like I said, helped move it along, and you really are interested to see what's happening, even though at the end of the day, it is historical events, so you kind of know what's going to happen. But seeing those behind-the-scenes things, especially as an American that doesn't know a ton about British history, even this very pivotal part of it. Like I said, all the performances pretty good. I liked Ben Mendelsohn. He played King George, and he played a good character. Even though it's a historical character to Winston Churchill, they kind of had opposition, and I liked that because you kind of had almost the more aloof, goofy way that Winston Churchill was. He was very eccentric and strange, and then you had King George, who was very straight-laced and serious, and those two interacting with each other made some really interesting scenes in the movie. The one person I will say was wasted was Lily James. I think she's a really good young actress, and I think she has the biggest draw for me out of almost any of the young actresses working today. I mean, I thought she was great in Cinderella. I thought she was really good in Baby Driver. I liked her in Downton Abbey. And I was kind of upset that she had kind of a diminished role in this movie. I mean, her character seemed from the beginning like it was going to be seen kind of through her eyes and moving along the story, but she just became kind of a side note. It was kind of steamrolled by the other characters' performances. So if I were to rate this movie, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's really good. It's very well acted, but it could have done more, and I think it is just a subject that, while it can be a really good movie and interesting, it lacks something that you get from a pure war film or something where it's a little more in your face. This is kind of the behind the scenes stuff. And while I did think it was really good, I didn't think it was the most amazing thing in the world. I do think Gary Oldman should definitely be nominated for some awards. I think he has a serious chance to win some for this role. But overall, it's a really good movie, just not the greatest thing in the world. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about it. I thought it was pretty interesting that this year we got 2 movies that had something to do with Operation Dynamo. And you kind of got to see both sides of it. So it was cool seeing Dunkirk and then also seeing this movie, because you kind of saw what led up to Dunkirk and all the stuff in between. They almost mixed together. I think they're a good blend. If you wanted to watch both those movies, I think you do get something from seeing both of them, honestly. So yeah, let me know what you thought about it. Remember to like and subscribe, comment below, and see you guys.